there, it's Deidre from Our Upcycled Life, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I do lots of thrifting, upcycling, repurposing, and DIY content. And today's video is all about creating batik fabric without the wax resist. It is a fantastic technique. It's so easy to do, and the product that we're going to use, you already probably have in your kitchen. So batik is when we apply wax to a fabric and then dye on top of it. It creates a really fantastic crackled looking finish on fabric, but I got an easier way to do it and something that you can do this afternoon right in your craft room. Okay, let's get started. This faux batik technique works best on cotton. I have these two pieces off an old pillowcase that I'm going to show you the technique. Now, to create this faux batik effect, all you need is flour. We're going to incorporate half a cup of warm water and half a cup of flour together, mixing it really well, making sure that there's no lumps. We want to, in the end, have it like a pancake consistency. If you need to add a little bit more flour to get that, then you can just add it together in small increments. And then you're just going to paint that flour mixture all over that piece of cotton, making sure you go right out to the edge and try to get it as even as you can. And you want to make sure that you put it on quite thick so you cannot see the fabric. I've got it completely covered. I'm going to set it outside in the sun and we're going to let it dry really well. I coated the other piece and I'm just showing you how you can put designs in it. You can use a fork, you can use the end of a paintbrush, because when you're creating designs in it, it's letting the fabric show through. So when we go to color it, it will seep through in more areas and just give you a little bit more of a different look. Both of these are outside in the bright sun. It's going to take a little bit for them to dry. I'll be back when they're all ready. They're about halfway through drying and I want to take them off the wax paper. So I'm just peeling it off and then I'm going to put it back on that piece of wood and put it out in the sun so it can dry. The wax paper was preventing it from drying from the underneath. So peel that off and we're going to set it outside. It's a few hours later. They're completely dry. I like to add a little bit more crackling. You can see that there's some that's already started in it, but I just like to gently just kind of crunch it up a little bit to add a few more. And make sure before you do this step that it is completely dry. You don't want to have it still damp or you'll have a mucky mess. Now, as a substitute of using fabric dye, we're going to use acrylic paint, because when acrylic paint dries, it is permanent. So I've got a little bit of water in my paint palette, and you really want to water down that acrylic paint. You don't want it really thick. And then just brush it right onto your piece of fabric into that flour. You want it watered down enough so it's going to seep into those crackles and then get down to the fabric. And the resist is the flour. Wherever there's the flour, the acrylic paint is not going to soak through, but where there's crackles, the acrylic paint is going to seep right through into that fabric. I'm going to do 4 different colors on this piece of fabric so I can show you how it blends in together and how it will react to different colors. I'm, again, just watering it down really well, and you have to almost push your paintbrush into those cracks and make sure that it's leaching right through and you have enough water incorporated into it. Now for the other piece of fabric, I'm going to do this brown color. Again, I've watered it right down and I'm pressing it quite hard right into that piece of fabric so it goes into all those little nooks and crannies and cracks. And then once we have this all coated, I'm going to take both of those pieces of fabric, and again we're going to put it out in this full sun where it's nice and hot and let that acrylic paint dry really well. I've set them outside and you can tell if you've got enough paint on it. If you can pick it up and you can see the paint on the bottom side that it's come through. Look at the texture on that. This one's going to be really amazing. This is a couple hours later and they're completely dry, and you can want to make sure that it's dry from the front and the back. It's going to be crispy again. That's what you're looking for. And the same with this brown one. It's nice and dry, and look at all the texture on the back of that. Fantastic. I'm excited to show you guys how this is going to turn out. I have just some warm water in a bucket, and I'm just going to put that first piece of fabric right in there. And what's going to happen is that water is going to soak off all of that flour and just leave the acrylic paint in the cracks and wherever there wasn't any flour, and it's going to leave this really neat grainy texture on this piece of fabric. And if you have a creative mind like me, you can imagine all of the possibilities. You can draw pictures with flour onto fabric and then do this technique. You can do so many different designs on it, so many different color combinations. Anything that is like a nice cotton fabric will work. Now we're going to put in this second piece of fabric, and again, just let that flour soak off. And this piece of fabric is almost giving me almost like a Western feel, kind of like a aged leather. I got all the flour cleaned off both pieces of fabric, and I put them out in the sun and let them dry completely, and this is the final result. I think the design that you can create on fabric with just flour is so much fun. And I know if you're like me, you have all kinds of acrylic paint that you can experiment with and mix and mingle colors together on fabric. You can incorporate these pieces of fabric into so many DIY projects: scrapbooking, mixed media, junk journaling. The possibilities are endless. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial on how to create faux batik on fabric. And if you like this kind of DIY content, I'd love for you to like and subscribe and follow along, because I always have all kinds of great DIY content. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. And if you love this video, I'm sure you'll love either of these next two. Take care.